Welcome to the Developing Leaders series. My name is Miriam McLemore, former corporate CIO at the Coca-Cola Company and now enterprise strategist with AWS, where I partner with leaders globally to enable business transformation. We've invited executives from around the world and across industries to share their insights on leadership, vision, strategy, and people development. And thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Miriam.
The topic we'd like to start with today is, can you tell me about hiring leaders and your approach to building leadership on your team?
The first thing that I really think about and I look for in someone that I'm trying to hire is what's their motivation. And by that I mean I'm looking for someone who's intrinsically motivated to do what's right for unselfish reasons. They do what's right, they work hard, just because that is the right thing to do. Because if you have that, a lot of other things can follow. Once someone has motivation, or you know that someone has motivation, I'm looking for some other things, like curiosity. Somebody with an external focus, someone who really is focused on their customers and how they can drive value for their customers. People who are really interested in seeking new knowledge, open to learning, open to finding new things. Also, I'm looking for people who can connect the dots, people who can take in information and understand what that means and generate new insights from that. Those are people that usually are good at assessing a situation and knowing what to do. And then finally, people who are determined and resilient. People who stay with things, they're willing to face hard challenges to meet their goals. And when they have a setback, they can bounce back. They have resilience. So I would say those are the things that I most look for when hiring someone.
Tell me about a leader who inspires you.
You know, there are a lot of people, but I recently went to an event, and Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, was the guest speaker.
Oh, wow.
And I was blown away by her. She was such a relatable, normal person. She seemed like a friend, someone easy to know, yet she's this, billionaire, woman entrepreneur. And when she started speaking about how she had become Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, her messages were so interesting and really resonated with me. And she talked about taking risks, not being afraid to fail, that literally when she was growing up, her father would ask her every week, "What have you failed at this week?" And he would be disappointed if she didn't have something to say. He was always encouraging her and her brother to try new things. And so she did. She tried, many different things that she wasn't particularly successful at. She sold fax machines door to door for something like 9 or 10 years. But she just took a simple idea and she turned it into this huge business. And it really helped me understand that, there's greatness in everyone. There's the opportunity for that. If you're willing to try, if you're willing to take risks. She said things like, don't worry about what anyone thinks of you, seek validation from no one. And I think as a woman, especially, those are important messages to hear. And those are important messages for other women and for girls to hear. And I was just really inspired by her.
So, on that women's theme, right? Women, inspirational women leaders, and you as a leader in your business, are there things that you have the opportunity to do to inspire women coming up?
Yeah, well, that's something that as I've, taken this new role, I've been thinking more about. I've recently joined our Women's Leadership Council, which is a global council who advise senior leadership on what we can do to advance more women in our business, because obviously women control, I think, something like 70% of the purchasing decisions.
Yeah, I've read that.
And also half of the population, but they're not represented at that level, especially in the professional and more senior management kind of ranks. So that's one thing that I'm starting to do.
Right. And, on the topic of women, I was recently speaking at an event, and we were talking about the difference between men and women. And men, when asked to take the next challenge on, whether they've ever touched it before or not, will say, absolutely, I can do it. Women often feel like they need to have done a huge portion of that work to say yes to doing the next step.
Right.
Do you find that with the women that you're developing on your team? And is there a balance you try to strike there to inspire them to, like the father was doing, right? To encourage you to take risk?
Yeah, that's something that I think a lot of women need to hear. And I do try to help develop women in my organization. I've got several women on the team that are very much up and coming, strong leaders, and it's a focus.
Yeah, absolutely. So switching gears on you a little bit, with all of the opportunity, with your experience in such a big role and your own family, how do you manage work-life balance? It's always been a challenge I've had, and I'd be interested in your approach to managing your time.
Yeah, it's an important thing. There's probably nothing more valuable than your time and how you spend your time and who you spend it with and what you spend it doing. I don't like the term work-life balance. I like work-life integration because more and more work is part of life, and work and personal, it's hard to keep them really separate. So it's really, to me, about work-life integration.
I like that term.
Yeah. I would say you've got to be really clear on your priorities and what you need to get done, what your goals are, both personally and professionally. But I think it's also important to give yourself a break, like not to try to believe that you must be excellent at everything. It's more a matter of what are your priorities for a given period of time, for 6 months or a year. And though there might be other things that you want to do or you think maybe you could or should be doing, it's a matter of choice, and you cannot do everything.
Tell me how you stay current on technology trends.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways. So obviously we have key strategic partners like AWS, like Salesforce and others that help us stay up to date with new innovations and technology trends. Research firms like Gartner, my own team, my clients, I like podcasts. Those are some of the key ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you then prioritize your investments in technology?
Right. So there's a few different filters that we apply to technology investments at Coke. I would say, first, there's some guidance in terms of budget availability that certainly comes into play. Secondly, we have some overall kind of big bets that we want to focus on. So for now, some of our big bets include things like digital marketing, e-commerce, data and analytics. We're looking to modernize and simplify our technology landscape. So we're looking at programs and projects that help us do that as well.
That's fantastic. And we just want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing all of these insights. What a great career and wonderful opportunity to have time with you today.
Well, thanks, Miriam. I appreciate it.